SaaS renewal KPIs that vendors and partners should share. Now, we've had a couple of comments already through the earlier sessions where KPIs has come up, and it is a subject which, permeates a lot of discussions, but this one in particular is going to focus on, insights, trends, modeling. These are all part and parcel of building a renewals KPI vision. So let's talk in a little bit more detail now and drill a little bit deeper as regards what's in those KPIs. So, Edmund, would you like to start us, please?
Sure. So I think when you talk about SaaS renewal KPIs for the vendors and partners, you're going to have your standard legacy maintenance renewal KPIs, which, like your standard renewal rate, your on-time renewal rate, your upsell opportunities. But when you talk specific to SaaS, you're going to talk about license activation, right, and your adoption rate. So you can sell a bunch of licenses, but if the customer's not activating them, it doesn't mean a lot, and you're not going to renew. You also need to look at your usage. How many people are using and which features they're using. That will give you, that can go back to your product marketing, and they can determine, do they need to enhance some of their products and everything like that. You also need to look at your churn rate. Are they leaving to other to other vendors and everything? So that's important. So are you retaining your customers? You need to look at your annual reoccurring revenue, because that's what SaaS renewals is all about, reoccurring revenue. So you need to look at that pattern. Is it going up? Is it going down? Your expand and upsell. That's really important that you start tracking, because as they start adopting and doing your usage, that's your opportunity to expand and upsell. And then the last one, and this really comes, and we've talked about the digital customer experience. As you implement a customer success platform, you should have a customer health score. That's everything that I mentioned above, plus your year-to-year revenue, the number of returns, credit rebills, your TAC cases, all of that combined comes into a customer health score. So those are the additional stuff that I believe you should have for your SaaS renewal KPIs.
Thank you, Edmund. Stuart, would you care to comment, add some more, sir?
Yeah, in general, I would say that Edmund's probably been pretty comprehensive there and probably covered just about everything. I kind of made a note in advance on this. So kind of rather than repeat that, I would probably emphasize the fact that, basically you can't expect anyone to deliver against the KPI, be that a partner, be that part of your own team, if you don't tell them what that KPI is and how they are progressing against it. So as well as, sharing the KPIs and what targets you have, what targets you're setting for your partners, I would also say, regularly share how they are progressing, make sure they're in agreement with your measurements. Probably another thing, whenever you send out a KPI is to explain how you're measuring that. Renewal rate is probably a classic example. I've spoken to people in the past about the same renewal rate and had 3 or 4 different answers as to what that renewal rate is, purely because people are using a different formula to measure it. Some people are including some elements, some are not. So getting all that up front is really important, and then reviewing it, like I say, seeing how they're progressing and obviously addressing areas. And I think, again, Edmund mentioned one of the important ones there, which is, as well as doing the numbers that are all the positives, is spending time on churn and understanding not only who your competitors are, who they're going to, but the reason why. So understand it, and what can you do to help? Is it always a cost issue? Is there something you can do around there? Are they seeing a product feature that you're missing that you can relay back to your product development department, etc.?
Thank you. Maciej, what's your view? I've got a question for all 3 of you afterwards, so keen to hear what you've got to say here.
Sure. Well, I suppose to kind of summarize everything that both Edmund and Stuart were saying is this, as the saying goes, tell me how you're going to measure me and I'll tell you how I'm going to perform, right? So if I know how I'm being measured as a partner and I understand all of the metrics and I know how to drive my teams on the partner side, how to have an impact on those KPIs, and I know where I am today versus the day before, that's going to help me drive the renewals business on my side. Given, but I need access to how I am performing today. If I don't have that visibility and we wait to a QBR, which is going to happen 2 or 3 weeks after the quarter finished, that's it. We cannot have an impact on the quarter that has just gone, right? So it's all about that proactiveness from both vendor side and the partner side when it comes to the KPIs, and having a really good understanding on what can we do together to move the needle in the right direction. Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
That's very key, and that kind of like, maybe I'll ask a question of all three, but I'm going to probably go off script a bit here, but perhaps ask the question, do you believe that it's very important to market to the channel the value of the KPI exercise? Because one could sometimes deem it as being quite onerous, and it's like, the vendor's coming down on me, as compared to, guys, this is a way for us to actually help you plan your business in 12, 24, 36. So your participation, your embracing with transparent content about your KPIs is very important. What do you think? Is marketing of KPIs an important exercise to be done? And do we do it well enough?
I would say certainly it is. Again, I would again use the example of KPIs that you use internally with your own team. Again, some KPIs are obvious. Other KPIs you may ask your team to perform against may not be obvious to them as to why. So explaining why, explaining the benefit to them and the company, and in the case of the partners, both the vendor and themselves, is really important. Excuse me. And I would probably say, hold my hand up as well and say definitely probably haven't been the greatest at it, always. So I would definitely agree with that statement.
Thank you, Stuart. So guys, thank you all very much for that particular set of feedback. It was very, very useful. And again, we're all learning a lot more as we go along.